Just before this video begins, we're pushing for a bit of a subscriber push, an increase at the end of the year. If you like to support that and you like PSVR2, there is no better place to be. Maybe except without parole. Obviously go and subscribe to them. But welcome, and if you like PSVR2, feel free to sub. Anyway, let's get on to the content of the video. I woke up this morning to a very curious Reddit post. And if you are on the PSVR subreddit, you will have seen me in this thread because it's probably the most popular one on the subreddit right now, with 222 upvotes as of the time of recording, which is the 21st. No more information has come out about this since then because this is a leak, but a user called Rizk0777 said Resi 7 may be headed to PSVR 2 according to PS5 Physical. Now, I'm between two minds on this one because one, it's Capcom, so it's every possibility that the PS5 version of Resi 7 could be VR supported, but also we've seen back-end stuff like this before, where VR has been listed and it really turned out not to be the case because of either a error in the manufacturing and distributing process of the images that are put onto websites. So I'm a bit on the fence, but without further ado, let's take a look at what this even is. So, on the Australian retailer JB Hi-Fi, who are a fairly reputable storefront, they listed this, which is a PS5 version of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard Gold Edition. Now, if you take a look, the artwork is identical to the old Gold Edition, which you're seeing on screen now. That is the listing for the old one. But if you look very, very closely in the bottom left, we have rated 18 for high impact horror violence, blood and gore, and the last one, VR interactivity. Now, this could mean that the Resident Evil 7 version on PS5 is VR supported, but there are a couple counterpoints to this as well. My first one being that there's no PSVR 2 supported indicator at the top of the box like we usually get for some PSVR 2 supported games. Now, granted, this isn't present on some other big AAA games like Resi 8 and Gran Turismo 7, I don't think. It's usually just for PSVR 2 only games, and mostly for the indie ones at that. So that's not a smoking gun to say that this isn't real and won't happen, but it is maybe a little indication, because those games that I just talked about were manufactured in physical before PSVR 2 even came out. So that may be the reason that the PSVR 2 compatible graphic isn't on the box. Anyway, let's continue. Some users below are either very excited for this possibility, as am I, even though bloody hell, it was scary enough on the PSVR 1 to the point where I barely even finished it. I only finished it on the flat screen and not in VR because I couldn't really handle that. So I'm not sure how I would manage a playthrough of Resi 7 if it did ever come. However, some people are a little bit skeptical, same as me. So some people say, such as UCan12, said that it's probably just a placeholder. That's the realistic viewpoint here, and as I said at the start of this video, we've seen placeholders before do things like this. We know that it's not a direct copy and paste of the previous PS4 listing of Resi 7 Biohazard, because the gold edition for that doesn't include the VR interactivity on the box. So interestingly, it's not just a copy paste from the old one, at least for the JB Hi-Fi website, if that's where they got it from, meaning it had to have been added for some reason. Somebody has designed this box with the PS5 banner on it. So the main thing for me towards you guys, from my perspective, is go into this as if this isn't real. In terms of where your hype level's at, nothing is confirmed. This could be a mistake. It most likely is a mistake, but for one little second, let's put on our tinfoil hats and do some dot connecting in case this does turn out to be real. If it does, which I'm not saying it is, of course, but if it was, what are the dots we can connect here? What's the story? What's the angle? So, of course, Capcom are one of the biggest supporters of virtual reality. So if there's any indication that any AAA game that is going to be brought over to PS5 will be VR supported, it's probably Resident Evil. Capcom would love to have Resi 4, Resi 7, 8, and 9 all playable on PSVR 2 as a little lineage there that you could play all the way through. That would be fantastic, especially having, you know, the Mold Winter Saga on PSVR 2 is probably a goal of theirs, I would assume. It's also kind of been an open secret that this port was in development for a while. There was just no ETA for it. Some people are also saying that the PS5 got enhancements for Resi 7 with the old PS4 version as well, which is true. Why would they make a PS5 port of the game if there've already been enhancements for PS5 on the old version? Well, one reason for that could be because the PS4 version, even though it's PS5 enhanced, that software cannot run on the PSVR 2. It has to be a PS5 app. Even PSVR 1 games do not run on PSVR2, obviously, because they're PS4 applications and they're PSVR applications. That could be a reason why it's even being brought onto PS5 in the first place, even though it runs at 4K 60 with the patch. So in my head, that does kind of make sense, right? On top of this, one user has also made a very, very good deduction in the comments from Cosman78. They say people knew it was in the works, but no ETA, as I said earlier, and they stealth dropped the VR mode for Resi 4 Remake last year, day of or part of the Video Game Awards if I remember correctly. Wouldn't surprise me if they do the same this year for Resi 7. Capcom is great about supporting every platform they can for their games, including VR and mobile, despite lower sales. That's a great point. Resi 7 and Resi 8 are both available, along with Resi 4 I think, on iPhone 15 as far as I know and above. So they do love to expand and include everything, even though they famously didn't sell well on mobile because not many people are looking to play a AAA game like that on a mobile port. But the main part of this statement I want to latch onto is the Video Game Awards. Now this is happening I think on the 13th of December this year. So could we see an announcement there? Maybe, but the only thing that tips me off against that is that on the JB Hi-Fi listing, it is on pre-order for date of release 6th of December 2024, which is before the Video Game Awards. So unless the PSVR2 nature of it gets announced later at the Video Game Awards, I don't know if I see this really happening. It's a bit of a confusing one, but we'll have to wait and see. A lot of mixed signals from there, of course. If it's going to be anyone to do this, it's going to be Capcom, of course. But as always, just keep your expectations low. I'm not getting excited about this, but if you hadn't heard about this little leak and little news that's possibly indicating towards something like this happening, there it is, it's out there, so make of it what you will. Could easily be a mistake though, of course. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you to our patrons and YouTube members, Luke Bentley, Phil Irving, Hazit Mirza, Ace Gamer, Hippie Pickle, Jin007, A License to Chill, Sun WTF, Fat Controllers, The Game Cat, Andrew Aaronwright, Jason Parker, Lamar Hall, Jordy Banzema, Lemon64K, Outcast VR, Prophecy777, Gundy, Salvador, and David Gerhardt. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you think of this in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next one.